Hey, welcome, everybody. We're getting our numbers are starting to come on in. Delighted to have y'all here. Tech is fantastic when it works. So we all did a bit of a rain dance before to make sure everything's going to work beautifully. Couple things. We have 2 ASL interpreters, both volunteers. Thank you very much to Abby and Julia. We will be going over some housekeeping, what this is all about. We still have tons of people coming in, so I don't want to get started too soon. Maybe we'll do another 30 seconds. Okay, real quick. Oh, I love it. Applause and thumbs up and hearts. Okay, we'll have loads of that. We're going to have loads of that, please. Okay, starting to slow down. So I think for what we're doing today, I'm going to get jumping right into it. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tara Cunningham and I'm autistic. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yes Access Activation Summit. We are so happy you're here. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to go over a few accessibility reminders to make sure everyone can fully participate today. Number 1, this is being recorded. If you prefer not to be on camera, feel free to turn it off. Change your name to the initials. If you don't know how to do that, if you go over your screen, you'll see 3 little dots by your name, and then scroll down and you'll see rename. Use the setting that feels best for you. The video link is going to be shared with every person who registered for today's meeting. A huge, enormous thank you to Amy McCaw from Blind IT, who are hosting today's Yes Access event. So thank you very much. Live captioning should be enabled for everybody. If you don't see live captioning, move your cursor to the bottom of the screen and you will see little thingy thing. I'm really good.
Bar opens up.
A bar. There you go, Meg. Well done. I also have dysnomia, so I forget words. You'll be able to click CC, more, sometimes show subtitles. Everybody's got something different, okay? If you have a problem, we have Kate Russell. Just message Kate and she should be able to walk you through it, okay? We will be using chat for questions and comments. If chat isn't accessible to you, you can raise your hand, which is the little react button that looks like a heart. Use the arrow and your hand will be then raised, okay? We will unmute you so that we can be able to hear you. We just don't want to have a lot of background noise as we go through this. Pacing, especially for me, I'm a bit of a jabbermouth. We'll try to speak clearly and at a manageable pace. If you need us to slow down or repeat something, let us know. There's no need to apologize. Access is a shared responsibility. We'll do our best. We need to make sure that we're doing our best for you. Slides and materials. We will be describing every slide verbally. The slides and materials will be sent in accessible formats after the event to everyone who registered. If you did not register and you want to be a part of it, you could drop your email in the chat. Respect and belonging. Every person's ideas are welcome. Whether you agree with them or not is not the point. Everybody's ideas are welcome. We encourage respectful participation and we want everyone to show up exactly as you are. No masking in this room. We'll do a little bit of a fun word cloud. Some of you guys have already added your responses through the invitation. It's been super fun. When that slide goes up, we will have a QR code that you can use with your phone. There will also be a link so that you can participate. It will fall into the chat. Now, what this is. Yes Access was launched, I say imperfectly or maybe poorly, by Meg and I, Meg O'Connell, wave Meg, in response to our fears that disability rights and services were at risk. This was in February. We quickly realized that we could not do it alone. We put out a call for volunteers and we have 30 incredible volunteers from across the United States. 75% of them have disclosed a disability. 100% have disclosed that they assume they will one day have a disability if they do not have it now, which is everybody's truth. Since then, everything from our website to our ASL interpretation, again, thank you, Abby and Julia, has been powered 100% by volunteers. It's their time, energy, and brilliance that has brought us to where we are today. Yes, access is not political. It is about protecting and improving the rights of people with disabilities. Full stop. We are focused on making a larger cultural shift needed for true access and inclusion by changing the disability narrative from reactive to proactive. We're going to be talking a lot about that shortly. You're going to hear us use the word disabled throughout the campaign. That is deliberate. If your life or someone you love is shaped by the American with Disabilities Act or the ADA, this campaign is for you. Every disabled person has their own unique story, their own different truth, and a different version for what accessibility looks like. No one person is right. No one disability is more important than the next. Too often, our differences have made it hard for the disability community to come together. At Yes Access, we're trying something new. We're trying to have a space where we show up where we are, how we are, and share what's working, what's broken, and what we want to see change. Just imagine the power of hearing from 70 million American disabled voices, respectfully and unapologetically. Imagine public policy being shaped by our lived experience. Imagine our elected officials thinking about disability every day because they can't open their phones, use social media without seeing a Yes Access story from someone in their constituency. Just recently, we watched thousands of beautifully executed campaigns, both grassroots, individual advocates, big nonprofits, fighting the one big beautiful bill. We didn't win. We didn't fail because what they did was wrong. We failed because we did not have a unified voice. And so we feel that it's time to come together, millions of voices, one campaign, Yes Access, which is why on the screen that you're looking at, it says Yes Access Activation Summit, Igniting a Movement for All. And there are people of all different ages, colors, creeds, some with physical, some with hidden or apparent and non-apparent disabilities. That's what this is about. So we are looking at a slide with a windy road. We're going to start off with where we are today. We're going to move into the direction we feel we want to go. And then we're going to talk about where we want to end up. So we have quite a big number of people here. If you can and you feel willing, please let us know your name, the state you're from, your organization if you like, and how you're feeling about the state of disability rights. Emojis work perfectly. So let's see, where are we all from? Let's see, we had people register. Oh, Wyoming, fantastic. Where else? Tennessee, Philly, Florida, Doylestown, excellent. Next Step programs, Chicago, New York via Ireland. Ooh, there's Aideen. Eden, Utah, Devon, the UK, fantastic. Asheville, North Carolina, hope the flood's going well. Jersey, Ohio, Providence, Rhode Island with a headband. Ooh, okay. So, all right. So we're straight across the states. That's very good. Wendy, angry and annoyed. And if you don't know Wendy, she is the emoji queen. Okay, DC metro area. Currently looking for my next role since she was with the State Department. Thumbs down. Good luck with that, Robin. All right, so let's move on. So we're from everywhere. Okay, fantastic. This is our team. There are about 9 people on the slides, male, female, everybody's names. They are all absolutely working for free on this campaign. They have spent hundreds of hours. I can't believe how blessed Meg and I are to have this team, 90% of which I did not know before we started this journey. So if we get nowhere else, I've met some of the greatest humans in the United States, bar none. So we will send out those names. Please look them all up. We'll have LinkedIn addresses. Connect with us. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is it? Yes Access. I skimmed a bit in the beginning, But what we are trying to do is power a nationwide movement by uniting all disabled stories and your individual strategies and your action plans to activate positive change, to protect the progress that we've made. And then let's rewrite what disability rights and access is. We can only do that with your stories. And we're really, really lucky that we have this thing called social media. I'm going to say lucky in this context, because instead of all of us needing to do phone banks and be able to do poster campaigns and billboards, all we're asking is that everybody uses the hashtag YesAccess. You don't have to change your mission. You don't have to change your ideas. You just need to share your disabled story, your accessibility story, and tag YesAccess, making a place where everybody can see what it is that our community wants and needs, so that we can achieve our vision where dignity, inclusion, access, and equity for people with disabilities are the default. We are often reactive. This is an ability for us to put ourselves in a proactive way where we could start shaping what we want the world around us to look like. By ourselves, we're weak. When you add 70 million names, we're a quarter of America. If you add our people who love us, we're at half of America. We should be top of everybody's mind. That's what we want. Next slide, please. Okay, this is where it gets fun. Let me introduce you to Aideen. Aideen is a lawyer who joins us from Ireland and has just taken the New York bar. She's phenomenal. And she's going to be talking about what has happened in the last 6 months. So I'm going to put myself on mute. You're welcome, everybody. And welcome, AD.
Thank you, Tara. And thank you to everybody who's joined us. It's such an honor to be a part of Yes Access. As Tara said, my name's Aideen Byrne and I'm the legal chair here. I'm a disabled woman. I'm immunocompromised. I have complex chronic illness. I'm neurodivergent. And while I've just sat the New York bar, my background is in international law and specifically in human rights, atrocity prevention. And I'm not new to disability rights. So I'm really, really pleased to bring my expertise to you. The title on our slide is about where we are today and the erosion of legal protections. I have the challenging job of giving an overview to you. And what I want to do is put on my atrocity prevention hat primarily. I don't want to get bogged down in the legal minutiae. If I do, please tell me to move on. I think it's the best way to use my expertise in our time together while we activate our coalition. For those that don't know, atrocity prevention is basically a broad range of tools and strategies that are used to prevent mass killings, but also large-scale human rights abuses that occur during peacetime. So it's very relevant to us. There's various entry points where atrocity prevention can occur. Before, during, after atrocities. It's about prevention. It's about response. It's about recovery. And all of these things can happen simultaneously and also cyclically, unfortunately. So my present atrocity prevention assessment puts us in a time where there are atrocities occurring targeting disabled people. I don't think that's news to anyone here. And there are early warning signs for further atrocities, and there's also need for recovery from past harms. We all know that in the US, we, as disabled people, have not been living in a utopia up to this point where our rights were respected. We were not experiencing equity. We have a huge portion of our population living below the poverty line just to receive disability benefits. There's so much inaccessibility in education and employment. Even there isn't equal rights to marriage in practice because disabled people often can't get married because of the consequences of losing their benefit. Immigration is even impacted if you're disabled. And there's like lack of culturally appropriate care. I could go on and on. But right now, sadly, as you all know from your comments, we're facing an even greater movement in the US to dismantle these hard-won legal protections for disabled people that we do have. And I apologize for how sobering my part of the presentation is. I promise Angelina, who comes next, is going to be more uplifting. This is actually my first presentation where I have the joy of having an ASL interpreter working with me. So I'm really grateful to Abby and Julia. It's really, really special. And it makes me quite emotional. So this slide is called Hostility Against the Disabled Community, Attempts to Divide Us. And what I want to talk about here is dehumanization. The groundwork for dividing us has been and is continuing to be laid through dehumanization. It's dangerous, and there's a deliberate and identifiable attempt by those in power to have the public believe that disabled people are a dangerous monstrosity that needs to be eradicated for the betterment of the US. I know that sounds really harsh, but with my atrocity prevention hat on, that is what I'm seeing and what other people through my lens are also seeing. And in atrocity prevention, we talk about early warning signs a lot. One of those is verbal cues. So what we're hearing from the state, from people in power, and what they're saying about disabled people. And right now, there's a lot of verbal cues to the public normalizing dehumanization and hostility towards disabled people. And it's often using a language of positive social change. So people can be kind of tricked into thinking it's a good thing. Like one quote I have is the idea of curing disability. And it alienates many, many people. It means that those of us that could identify and could join this community often don't. And then others are encouraged to reject us. So excluding people from society based on a medical history opens the door to excluding people from all sorts of other perceived weaknesses. I was using finger quotes because weaknesses it's just terrible. So the division is happening in many ways within the general population, between marginalized groups, and also within the disabled community ourselves. We experience heightened lateral ableism. We also often exclude each other due to fear tactics, which is what we're trying to work against here with Yes Access, and why we need to move together, and we cannot leave others behind, and we have to push back against the violations that we're experiencing now of our protections for privacy, the right to life, inclusion, and respect. So we must reject the idea that the state can trample on these fundamental rights when it feels a certain group is a threat to national strength or it's become too costly. And coalitions are a powerful tool for atrocity prevention. They're a consortium, a gathering like us of diverse individuals and organizations united for a common goal. And it's a way to actively reject this dehumanization by calling for accessibility for all. And my experience working globally in really, really severe situations where people are so endangered, often the final protective action that these at-risk populations can do is to gather together, to work in community and to be a coalition. And so gathering together, we're making our voices louder, and we're also working with the knowledge that the connections we make today and going forward through Yes Access could be the lifelines for tomorrow. Hopefully we don't get that far, but I wanted to bring that to you. My final slide, because I got a time check, thank you, timing is not my strong suit, is about the strategic and systemic attacks that we're experiencing at the executive, legislative, and judicial levels. So there's a broad strategic and systemic attack on disability rights. I see it as two-pronged. So there's policies that result in greater numbers of disabled people, from lack of access to medical care, for increased poverty, insufficient food, and so on. And then there's policies that remove the disability rights protections. There are tools and strategies that we can use at various different legal levels, which if anybody is interested in that, I would love to talk more, but I don't have the time now. But we are seeing an erosion of the rule of law, abuses of power, targeted policies in a really broad range of areas. The executive branch is enacting hundreds of executive orders that are too numerous for people to keep up with. One that I wanted to highlight is called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets, which directs states to criminalize unhoused people and institutionalize people with mental health disabilities and substance use disorders. And the executive is eroding checks and balances through these practices, including pushing through votes on something huge like the big, beautiful bill on really short deadlines. As you'll remember, that was to be passed by the 4th of July, even though it was hundreds of pages long. And so
Right. Aideen is phenomenal at this, and we are looking for people to be on the legal and political team. And so if you would love to learn more, Aideen is your woman. So we're going to be looking for more volunteers. We just got charitable status, so we're going to be able to build up bigger and faster. But for time, I just want to make sure that we are staying to it, and would love to introduce our next speaker, Angelina Hansen, who's going to talk about where we need to go. Thank you very much, Aideen.
Thanks, both Aideen and Tara. So hi, I'm Angelina Hansen. I am autistic and ADHD, and I serve as the Yes Access Project Management Chair. Aideen talked us through sort of the gravity of where we are, so I'd like to talk about the direction we believe that we need to go in from here. This really isn't the first moment in our history when people have needed to come together for change. So we can look at a few different movements in most recent memory. One, we can look at the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s when Black Americans led a mass mobilization to secure equal rights. And people still know the iconic story from that of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her bus seat. Stories, as you'll hear throughout this, are hugely impactful and stay with us for a long time. And that's just one fantastic example. We can also look at the disability activist movements that led to the signing of the ADA in 1990, with its own iconic moment of the Capitol crawl, where activists left behind wheelchairs to crawl the steps of the Capitol to highlight lack of access. We can also look even more recently than that in the last decade and this age of social media we're in, to the Yes Equality campaign in Ireland, which used personal stories, again, and connections to win the first nationwide popular vote for marriage equality. So all of these movements really proved that change comes from pressure and that institutions aren't just going to do the right thing without us creating organized pressure on them to do that. If we can go to the next slide. So why were those moments so effective, or those movements, both being true, I guess? First, they were highly visible to the point of being unavoidable. You could not avoid or get away from hearing about these movements. They focused on shared values, so not just those of the people within the impacted groups, but also the values of people outside of those groups that they could relate to, which is particularly important to drive cultural change and not just policy change. We need to connect with the people who maybe don't live our experiences, but can relate to us in some way. They also highlighted how the existing systems and culture weren't aligned with our core American values, things like equality, freedom, and opportunity. And then finally, they built large coalitions of people across many groups, recognizing that equity requires collaboration. Next slide, please. And then, so as Aideen said, the opposition is using a sort of two-pronged approach. So this kind of leads us to a two-pronged approach for us to achieve change. One is mass mobilization. So we need to engage and activate as many people as possible so that we are too big to be ignored. Again, that high visibility. And then the second is building a coalition of many groups to help change the narrative around disability. Again, going back to this idea of stories and those things that stay with us and that will reach people in their core, that is something that they can relate to, not just on an intellectual level, but on an emotional level. And I am going to pass it over to Drew, our communications chair.
Hello, I'm Drew. I'm the communications chair for Yes Access team, and I'm grateful for your time and honored to be here with so many leaders, builders, fighters who've poured years and in some cases decades into inclusion and access for people with disabilities. I too have been working on true acceptance and inclusion for people with disabilities for decades in higher education, government, nonprofits, anywhere where I think I could do the most good. And that's why I'm so excited about Yes Access and how it took shape. I truly believe that this is the time, and we in this room, because we did select you, we didn't put this invitation out to everybody. We hand selected this group because of the impact that you have. We in this room are the people to make shift happen, make that cultural change and the radical transformation, and build supports and systems that truly center people with disabilities. It's been a hard year. The attacks have been relentless. And for many of us, this work doesn't end when the laptop closes. It's personal. It's our lives, and it's the lives of the people who we love and care for. And all those emotions that you expressed when you were telling us about how you felt about the movement, those are so valid, and we've been feeling those too. And we also know that this moment holds so much possibility, that all of this, the discomfort and discontent, that fear and frustration can yield a brighter future. So before we go forward, I want to ask you to pause and imagine something with me. If we did everything right, if our advocacy reached the hearts it needed to reach, if our policies passed, if our communities truly showed up for disability justice and transformation that we've been working for, if that all happened, what would real access look like? Really envision that. So just take a moment, find a word, a phrase to encapsulate your vision. Use the link or QR code that we're going to have on the next slide here, or you can write in the chat. And if you don't want to share it, write it on a piece of paper or on your phone or computer. I'm going to give you a moment.
As you write in the words are going to pop up, and then we're going to be seeing that we are closer than we think.
So what you see on your screen is a cloud. Everything that you have submitted, and whether it was through the link or the QR code, and whether you did it beforehand or you've just done it now, that's showing up in this big mosaic. And the words that you're seeing here that are the largest, that's because it came up again and again in your guys' vision. So you can see here, there's responses like freedom, dignity, community, belonging, acceptance, respect. And see all those wonderful words of the vision that we all share. So Yes Access is a team, as Tara mentioned, that's largely comprised of disabled people. And when we came together all those months ago, these themes all came up for us then as well. And as we started to really think about how we could trace it back and find the key to everything that we wanted for our vision for the future, we realized at the center of each of these visions was one powerful idea: access. Because the key to dignity, community, belonging, and acceptance is access. At the center of a world where disabled people thrive, you need access to schools, healthcare, housing, transportation, voting, employment. You need a seat at the table in all the places where decisions are being made. So access is not the end goal, it's the starting line for us. Once we have that, we see that all these things will flow from that. And so we're here for that long haul of making access possible. We wanted to share with you a little visual of what we've been discussing. So we'll go to the next slide.
I want a society that's more inclusive for autistic people.
I have an acquired brain injury. I have Down syndrome. I have spina bifida, and I am a parent of a child
Intellectual
with
disability.
Facial.
I am a care provider.
I have
Blind or
dyslexia,
visually impaired.
PTSD. I have ADHD.
I am a disability device. Deaf and hard out. I need one more aspect.
Millions of voices, one movement. Yes Access. Use hashtag Yes Access.
So what you saw on the screen and what you should have heard might have been a little bit difficult to hear, and I apologize for that, was this idea of all these different movements that have been happening, and we're all speaking out. We're all trying to be heard for people to understand us, and how it became this clash, became all discordant, and then the power of it all coming together in one clear voice and saying access. And that's where we are, because here's the thing. We've been working in all these silos, like the video illustrated, and no matter how great the efforts that we've been putting in, it becomes noise. To those in power, to the public, it's just noise. They tune it out. But when we come together, it becomes a movement. We can clearly see that we're a coalition, all working towards the same thing. Right now, the administration is following a playbook. As Aideen talked about, there's Project 2025, and it's a 920-page blueprint designed to roll back our rights, dismantle our programs, and silence our voices. And what we know is 60% of that has already been achieved in the first 6 months. And if it goes further, we know there are so many horrible things that are listed within there that they're trying to achieve with that, which includes stealing back our rights, stealing back our protections and our ability to be within the community, reinstitutionalization. And that's all laid out there. They have a clear goal, and that playbook allows them to move towards that outcome. And they have been marching straight towards that outcome with fierce power and clarity. They have a collective strategy, and we need one too. How do we do this? We have been putting a lot of thought and a lot of energy into developing a strategy. We need to get strategic about it. We've seen how movements win. Angelina talked about that. And when people look at what's worked in the past, they see that there's two sides to the team. The side that disrupts, they march, they protest, they crawl on the Capitol steps, they make it really uncomfortable for those in power. They're the offense, so to speak. And then we have the side that builds bridges, that creates big tent coalition, tells powerful stories, and invites in unexpected allies. That side lays the foundation, makes the cultural change possible. It's kind of like the defense. There have been movements that exist without number one, no protests, no marches, no large disruption. It's only a groundswell of social support. Yes, equality is a good example of that, but there has never been a successful movement without number two, without the community, without the coalition. We saw that, and we saw the gap, and we knew that somebody had to fill the gap. Yes Access is focused on the second. That's our lane. We're not asking anyone to change what they're doing. We're asking you to connect it, to make your work part of something larger. So tag it, name it, amplify it with hashtag Yes Access, so we stop being this scattered effort that can be swatted away, and we need to be seen as a large and powerful coalition we are. So part of how we do that is by strategic contrast, flipping their playbook on its head. They're focused on taking us back to the past, a past that has not been good for many people in this country, including people with disabilities. We need to be future focused. We need to have a clear vision of where we want to go and make sure we're heading there. They've operated on the idea of hate and divisiveness. We need to focus on connection and inclusion. They have sown fear and distrust. We have to sow hope and understanding. And they want to force us to be silent and isolated and invisible. So we have to be loud, proud, connected, and unignorable. So we have to change the narrative. As Tara was saying, they are selling this story of disabled Americans that is not true, and we have to make sure the true story is heard. So this is our messaging pillars. You will see an essential element of it is that story what we know is that stories move people, and that they have been essential to past movements. Like Angelina was talking about Rosa Parks and her refusal to move to the back of the bus. Everybody knows that story. It became powerful and galvanizing. The story of the little girl with cerebral palsy crawling up the Capitol steps, seeing that visually compelled people. Christmas in Purgatory and the expose of Willowbrook, how horrible the situation was. These are stories that broke through and changed America. It was the imagery, the emotion, the inhumanity. And we need more of those stories, not just the ones that show injustice, but the ones that build connection, show dignity, spark laughter, spread hope, humanize, and give a face to disability. Stories that open hearts and shift minds and invite people in. and help them understand that this is about their family, their friends, their neighbors, and it could be about them because, again, disability can impact anybody and will likely impact people at some point in their life. So it's about our American values and us as human beings and independence, opportunity, community, dignity, those core values that we all feel good about aligning with ourselves and understanding that people with disabilities are part of that. So here's what we're asking. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting your fight, but don't do it alone. Tag it with Yes Access. And let's become a movement that can't be ignored. 70 million voices rising together in one movement. Now I will pass it to Meg.
All right, great. Nice job. All right, where do we want to end up? Let's talk about what's next. And I'm going to race through this quickly because we want to have time for questions and comments and thoughts from all of you. So we thought as you think about telling your stories, and here's just a sample of something you can use. My name is Meg, and I believe in equal access for people with disabilities. Hashtag Yes Access. Of course, you can put any kind of spin on it you want. You can add your disability if you want to. You can add your accomplishments, whatever speaks to you. But we think starting with a simple statement that talks about the importance of accessibility and inclusion, and then using the hashtag Yes Access. And if you want to put in what organization you're with, if you want to say, I'm with Disability Rights Education Defense Fund, and our mission is to XYZ, and hashtag Yes Access, that is fine too. As Tara said at the beginning, we don't want to interfere with anything that you guys are doing or your mission. We just want you to join us as well so we can begin tracking the movement that we're having. So we like to give folks action items, right? It's great that we all get together and chat about things, but we all want action and movement. And so we want to start with what can you do today? And similar to the video, you can share your stories, whether it's as an individual with a disability, a parent, a student, someone who's struggling in employment to get the accommodations they need. Feel free to share what that story is. Follow us, share that content. We have a great website. Check it out. Sign up for our newsletters. And then we want you guys to help us. Where are there gaps? Help us identify where we should be focusing our energy. Obviously, we have a great group of volunteers, which tells me and Tara both that there are so many people that want to do something and want to react to what's happening to our rights and our dignity in America. And so this group of 30 plus volunteers has come together to start a movement. So we want to bring as many people along as we can. And we certainly don't know anything or everything. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I don't know anything, but we don't know everything, and we want to leverage the knowledge that you guys have as well. So help us know where we should shift our energy or join a movement that you're part of that we can be helpful to as well. So in conclusion, love this quote so much. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. We are that group. The onus is on us. We are the small group of thoughtful, committed citizens that really want to drive change for what we're doing in this country and how people with disabilities are treated. With that, I will pause and we can open up for questions, comments, thoughts, ideas. You can raise your hand or come off mute.
I'm truly shocked that we came in on time. There was a lot of practice that happened to do that, and I did my best to get us skewed off. There must be some points here because I know a lot of the names that are here. Yeah, again, you were all handpicked to be here. So we would love to get real feedback, whether you want to write it down, whether you want to send it to us in an email. Whatever works best for you.
I've been getting texts from Pete Moore, so let's pick on him. What do you think, Pete?
Nothing like throwing somebody under a bus.
Yeah, I immediately regret my decision to text Meg. No, I think it's, my name is Pete Moore. I'm from Ohio. I'm the president and CEO of the Ohio Provider Resource Association. I want to thank Drew for inviting me. I really appreciate it, Drew. It's great to see you too. And just, I think it's wonderful. And, one thing that we've, representing providers in Ohio, one thing that we've recognized is we're not going to gain any ground for our system for people with developmental disabilities if we don't work together with those impacted by the services. So we are committed to building those partnerships. You can see it in the efforts that we've made to improve the skills and advocacy. And we tell providers don't go in and talk to legislators without someone that you support and serve, and let's have a common message. So I think this, unless you guys tell me different, I think this fits in very well with that mission. So thanks for having me.
It sounds perfect, Pete. Thank you, and thanks for letting me have you get the ball rolling.
Anytime.
Okay, we have Joe King who has a question.
So mine isn't so much a question, just a comment, if you don't mind. And that's, I'm kind of one of the political wonks and around. And I will say, just from what I've seen of different coalitions, not only that, but my psychology training, is you're going to get a lot of diverse people. And if we are to succeed, we have to be okay with people in our coalition that are not going to agree with us 100%. Actually, that's a good thing. Okay, so, we may talk about things that are not going to be related to disability. There are going to be other social issues as well that we may discuss. And people are not going to be okay with what we believe, or not going to accept what we believe. And that's fine. Okay, so when we say we're going to be a big tent, we also have to make sure that the people coming in understand that, yes, sometimes they may feel that, that everybody's not going to agree with everybody, and that's okay. That's healthy. If you look at the history of our nation, it is a history of people that disagreed. The whole Constitutional Convention was a group of people that did not disagree, or that did not agree with people. It was a series. If you want to learn something great about a coalition, read the Constitutional Convention. And that's what created the government we have today. And so, be okay to have difficult conversations, and you got to be okay to feel uncomfortable, because if you're comfortable, you're in places you've been before, and that's not where we want to be. We want to be in places where we're not comfortable, and we have to have conversations with people who have always been comfortable, who've always siloed themselves, and to have them have uncomfortable conversations. But we also understand that these have to come in small bits. We have to say, okay, we're going to have this conversation. Maybe that's enough for now. Let's do it later. Finish it later. So we got to build this coalition, and understanding that a lot of people have not been part of a diverse group before, have always been siloed and things like that, as we mentioned, especially people with disabilities who have never been able to get out of their homes, their communities, or whatever. And we need to make sure and help them be included, but also people without disabilities to be included in our coalition. Yes, equality and the LGBT rights movement and the civil rights movement are two very great examples of that, of how they pull people in who didn't identify as LGBT or as African American, but yet they brought in people that were not, and those people helped them win a lot of victories.
Thank you, Joe. That is a wonderful way to end this presentation. I will say there are many, many, many disagreements by everybody on our team. I'm autistic. I'm neurodivergent. I don't like being called disabled. Our first big fight was, do we do people with disabilities and neurodivergence? And then we're like, nope, disability. What's under the ADA? So, but that's where we went. So the people out there don't know what they don't know. If you met one person with Down syndrome, you've met one person with Down syndrome. If you've met a person with a physical disability, you might find out the wrong way that you have to not hold the wheelchair. We don't know. And so using Yes Access will not only allow us to get all our ideas out there, but it'll allow for respectful, and this is important, respectful debate where we can understand where each other is coming from. So the best place you can start those debates is, funny enough, on social media. We are located on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Our YouTube has a bunch of videos on how to share your story. We'll be adding in other people's stories. If you tag Yes Access, we'll be able to bring it into our group. Okay. Please follow us. Please use the hashtag Yes Access. And please raise your hand, email us, join us as a volunteer. We need all of your voices. If you are with a larger organization, the only thing we're asking you to do is put a hashtag Yes Access wherever you do. All right. Partner with us, please. Share your story, good and bad. Hit Yes Access. All right. So we're getting close to the very end. Let's get claps for everybody. Go into that react button. Clap if you're going to be working with us and using Yes Access going forward. Tell your friends, tell your family. Oh, good. No thumbs down? No? Oh, I love to hear that. So you will receive an email with this presentation in accessible format. Do feel free to send it out to everyone you know. Please use Yes Access on anything that you discuss disability with. If you're involved in organizations, ask them to join us. We are a great group of people. We're good fun. We are good fun. And there are some serious debates that Joe highlighted. It's fun. It's respectful. And we want your voices. Reach out to us. Angelina just said there's more to come. This isn't the end of the conversation. It certainly is not. This is just the beginning. Thank you for being so wonderful to be on our personal invite list. Thank you for supporting our charity that we just got. Yay. Thank you for agreeing to do Yes Access. And we will look forward to seeing you in the very near future. Thank you to our interpreters. Thank you again to Blind IT for hosting today's event.